Hello. We are anonymous. This is a message to those who disagree with, or disapprove of the tactics of the Black Bloc during the Oakland General Strike on November 2, 2011. We must realize and acknowledge all tactics in this fight against encroaching corporate rule. All nonviolent movements that have even been moderately successful have always had members and groups that worked outside the general movement. These groups were willing to use destructive or possibly violent actions to pressure social reforms into motion. It happened with Gandhi. It happened with Dr. Martin Luther King. We must acknowledge that property damage and physical force used by a small group of willing people against corporate assets lends teeth to the general social movement and creates urgency to accommodate their demands. Remember, all tactics are legitimate, as long as all tactics are used. This means that peaceful dialogue is first and foremost, but escalation is not ruled out if dialogue is not acknowledged, or if it is violently repressed. The corporations, via the state, have a near monopoly on coercive force. Laws exist that marginalize populist movements and the possibility of social change. Laws exist to perpetuate the status quo and suppress dissent. Vandalism of property is a non-violent act. It is not a living person. Property is completely replaceable. A living person is not. A police officer, or a non-violent protester who threatens or uses force against those who vandalize mere objects are hypocritical and short-sighted in their actions. And this is why the corporations have created a vast empire of resources and property. Most of the U.S. telecommunication grid is corporate-owned. 6 media companies control 80% of the world's media by conservative measurements. American currency is printed by a corporation. Our prisons, our schools, our healthcare system, our military, and even our food all have increasing levels of corporate control and influence. They are shaping our entire society. And they have one motive: profit. The people making decisions on how their company is run are legally bound to their shareholders to maximize profit. This is why all tactics are acceptable. Corporations will not respond to social outcry without consequences to their ability to make profit. If enough people change their spending habits, and might check Walmarts, and block bank doors, and smash corporate assets, it is going to start costing them a lot of money. All tactics are legitimate, as long as all tactics are used. If you still have doubts about the legitimacy of direct actions, consider this. Corporations have legal standing as persons. They have nearly all the same rights that you have, as well as limited liability when they violate the law. Corporations are not subject to morality or empathy. Corporations are legal persons without conscience. They are persons who cannot die. Corporations are immortal sociopaths driven only to accumulate wealth. Consider this scenario. You have been kidnapped by someone you know to be a sociopath. You were familiar with them and their behavior over the last 30 years. Every decision you've seen them make was based on making more money regardless of the consequences and ramifications. Now they have a gun to your head, because they are going to profit from your death. Do you appeal to their humanity, sentimentality, how your civil rights are being violated, or plead on behalf of your children's future? There is nothing to appeal to, because the sociopathic corporation is only driven by profit, and is unmoved by human emotions, empathy, and compassion. Your only option is to make it more profitable for them to keep you alive. But it's probably in your best interest to try to disarm them by any means necessary if you truly want to live. Please respect those willing to fight to disarm our corporate assailants in whatever way they are willing to do it. They might just save our lives. We are anonymous. We do not forgive. We do not forget. We are a legion. Expect us.